So let's move on now and talk about map, okay? Because map is different, and it will feel somewhat the same, but it is different. And it creates a new array populated with the results of calling the provided function for every element in the calling array. Okay, and I was actually doing a little research, is like, does filter create a new array, right? And that's the one we were looking at before, right? And MDM calls it a shallow one, right? But in this case, does map, right? So map for sure creates a new array. Now that answer before wasn't as good as what MDN was, and that's why I was searching for it. Although you do have to be a little suspect, and that's why you want to, look around, because some people really think W3 Schools has been out of date, but I've noticed they've been doing a better job to keep their content updated. Free Code Camp is, of course, a great resource to do this, but I gave you the link to here, so let's actually look at it, right? So again, it's an array method that we can use to map over each one, returning an array, and in this case, right, it's going to do some type of function to every element in that array, or whatever we would want, right? So in this case, we're taking whatever x is, because x, right, multiplying it by 2, power of 2. And then here's the resulting array. Now the key difference is that it's a new one, not a subset of the other one, and that's what filter was. So let's say, back to our code now, right? Now let's write, okay, now let's write map. And there are just so many situations that you could use these in, but we're just giving you the introduction because I'm actually leading somewhere. So let's say I did const mapped post array. Okay, how would I write then the post? Now in this case, I'm going to go post dot map. Okay, just like before, right? I'm going to write an arrow function. Each one will be called post. And I like to write it longhand first, and I'm going to return based on what do I want when I'm evaluating each post, right? This was send me back based on my criteria. This is do something or give me something out of each one. Okay, so the example we saw, right, was taking the x and multiplying it by 2. But let's say I wanted to have an array that gave me the length of all the titles. Like maybe I'm looking for a particular, only certain, in this case I said greater than 10, right? And that just gave me back that. But let's just say I wanted to return the returning mapped post array to give me post dot title dot length. Okay, so let's look at that. Now I'm not doing any calculation. I totally could, but in this case I'm just going to do a simple return. Just return and build this array that gives me all the links of the title itself. So let's come back over here, right? Let's refresh the page, right? Oh, yeah. Mike, where's it at? We didn't console log it. That will help. That will help. Mama, I helped. Anybody remember that? Sorry, bad commercial reference. Okay, so now look. Now this was the first one. But now, look how many we got back, right? This is for all 100. Now we got the length, right? Now how about if what we wanted to do, though, was actually to only show me the length for the ones that I had returned from the filter. Now you can do it either way. These higher order functions do not have to be done in sequence. They do not require each other, but what you start to do is see how layering them depending on what you're trying to do. Often, if you know how to write the return well enough, you can just use one of these three higher order functions, but we're breaking them out and showing you both first. Now, what if I just ran it to push the and in this case, it's not showing a push, but that's what it's doing, the value of the length into that new array. But let's say we change this to now, right? Only give me filtered post array. So I'm referencing this array up here. Okay? So now I'm getting an array with just those. So I don't necessarily have to, I don't necessarily have to go after all the posts, but I may want to. I surely can. But I can also say, now that you've filtered out my post for my particular ID that I was looking for, right? And both have to be true. And the length of greater than 10, right? So all 9, so all 10 of theirs, right? So are actually greater than 10. So we could say, how about 5? Do I have any, what are great? Yeah, so I have here, let's go look. Is that right? That doesn't seem right. Oh yes, they are. Sorry, yeah, because yeah, let's say 17. Now we're starting to say, okay, now there's only 9 of them that meet that criteria. Again, we're doing a filter, and then on that filter we're doing a map to actually have those links in an array. Now, coming back here, you can imagine there may be situations where you want to do a more, some kind of calculation, something on each particular value inside of there, right? But for our example, we're just doing a very simple example to show the idea here. I'm going to bring this up a little bit more, how you can take a large set of data and say, okay, not only filter it down, but also give me a resulting array with what I want, which is I only want to see a particular, like I could do this for also the body, right? And of course the body, let's look at that. So look at this. And now this is the length of the body for each of those posts. Now what could we do with this, right? So first you're going to stop here. You're going to write in your markdown file. Now what does map? What's your understanding of what map does? How does it differ from what filter does? But more importantly, just put in, based on the writing that we've done, right, how you would do this. Now in the next video I'm going to introduce the last HOV. The last HOV will be reduce. And in that case, at the end of it, I'm going to give you a code challenge. Okay? All right. Watch for the next one.